Hi, I'm Dr. Adria Sutherland, and I am the professor of clarinet at Eastern Kentucky University. And I'm going to make some videos today to hopefully help you with your audition music for the 2020-22 and 2023 Kentucky All-State Band audition music. So this first video is going to be number 18 from the Rose 40 Studies, marked Adagio. So this is the lyrical etude this time. And first I'll play through it with a metronome at the beginning just to show the tempo, and then I'll give some tips on some of the trickier parts. Okay, so that was number 18 from Rose's 40 Studies. Hope that recording helped you. I didn't keep the metronome on during it because I wanted to show a bit more musicality than sometimes the metronome allows, but this is a really tricky thing. With playing the lyrical etude for an audition, you do kind of want to stick close to the metronome. Just to show that your rhythms are in proportion with each other. But on this etude, it's really hard to perform it with it because, as you know, there are some fermatas in here. So for the fermatas, you just hold them, I always heard time and a half, so hold it an extra beat or two. So as far as the metronome marking goes, the etude itself says quarter note equals 48. I believe that KMA has it marked at quarter note equals 56, so I just found something sort of in the middle, and that was 52. So I put my metronome on quarter note equals 52, and that's where I got my basic pulse. If it helps you, you can put on the 8th note subdivision also, and that will probably help the most when we get to the stuff like the 32nd notes that are coming up. So let's just kind of take this etude and pick it apart a little bit. First of all, it's marked espressivo at the beginning, which means expressively, so we know that we need tons of musicality in this. It doesn't really have a marking to play at forte. There's no dynamic marking here, there's no piano. So I would start sort of on the softer side and grow through this very first note. So you don't ever want to have a note that just sits there flat as a pancake and needs to move towards the next thing. So I'd play the first measure. So it goes into those 16th notes. Also, that measure right there and the next are a great opportunity to leave your right hand down when you're playing those 16th notes. So you start on the D and then C, B, A, G. You can leave your entire right hand down. That helps the tone of those notes. And then you can also get back up to the C in the next measure a lot easier. You can also do that on the A and the G in the next measure, but not on the F sharp. If you put it on the F sharp, it makes it way too sharp, or sorry, way too flat in pitch. Let's see, measure 4, let's look at that trill. You trill up to the D, but don't go crazy on it. You can't take too long on it there because you have to still fit the grace notes in and the whole thing has to stay in time. So with the metronome, the subdivision off. So just a couple wiggles is fine on that. Measure 5, let's look at that rhythm there. You've got a double dotted 8th note. That might be the first time some of you guys have seen that before. And you might think, what in the world? How do I count that out? It's almost like a dotted 8th note, except a hair longer. So if it was a dotted 8th note 16th, you would think 1 E and for your rhythm, 1 E and But because it's a dotted, it means that it lasts even into that last 16th note of that beat. So that is held over, and then you have to play a 32nd note. So instead it's 1 E and it is right before the next beat. So counting that out. As opposed to, it would be a little bit longer. So you just put it as close to beat 2 as you can and think 1 E and it comes after the Then looking on through here, measure 6. I always breathe after that high A because it gives me a lot more air to go into the next section and let the A sharps really build into the conclusion of that line. So starting at 5. In measure 7, those are triplets. I know that they don't have the little 3 underneath them. They're much like the ones in measure 3 though. So treat them like triplets. And then your trill, in that measure, you want to trill up to your F sharp. It has a fermata over it. So you can kind of let that one last a little bit longer, decrescendoing the whole time until you get to the D. Grace note that goes into measure 8. So it would be and then you re-articulate the D in measure 8. And one of my former teachers used to say that for trills, rather than just trill as fast as you possibly can on it the entire time, you have to do it in a way that's characteristic with the piece. So you wouldn't want to go, this doesn't really fit. So instead you want to establish the note and start moving slowly and then get into it. He always said that it reminded him of the way that an ice skater would spin. They started to get the spin going and then you're going quite fast after a while. So that's how I treat those also. All right, moving on. Look at the rhythms in measures 9 and 10. So we've got more of those 30-second notes creeping in. So measure 9, we've got a quarter note going into, tied into beat 2, and then 30-second notes that lead into beat 3. Beat 3 and 4 are easy. Those are just 3E and 4E and right? So it's the part before that that we have to figure out. So you count 1, and if you're already subdividing 16th notes in your head at this point, it's a really good idea. So you think 1E and 2E and 3. So on the last 16th note beat, or portion of beat 2 is when the 30-second notes come up. So 1E and 2E and 3. So one E and 2E and ba-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. So that whole measure. And then measure 10 has the 30-second notes in it as well. So you count 1 and 2, dee-da-dee-da-dum. It comes on the second half of beat 2. Measure 13, rhythm and fingers. Yes, okay, so measure 13, the entire thing is 30-second notes, or at least the first 2 full beats of it, right? So 4 of those 30-second notes fit in the span of 1/8 note. So the first 4 notes are a great opportunity to leave your right hand down here. So A, B, A, G sharp, A. I leave all of that business down. Helps it sound better, helps you get over the break, okay? When we get there, you got C sharp, or A to your C sharp. I like putting my C sharp on my on my right hand pinky. So A, C sharp, B on the left, D, and then C sharp again on the right. It's that one right there if you're looking at the instrument. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, it's a matter of personal preference right here. So if you like it the other way, that's also okay. This is just works best for me. So this is your 8th note pulse, and I'll turn my metronome back on. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so you have to think 4 little notes within each one. So a good way to practice that is what I was just doing, just sort of break it up into 4-note sections. And you can move on to the next one. And then eventually you'll get all those smooth, you put them together. And then when you get to the G, it's back to 16th notes, and they feel really slow after playing those 30-second notes. The next thing that I want to talk about is measure 14 and the little squiggles there. Those are turns. Generally what we do on, well, any instrument really, is you start on the written note. So you have a D and then you have the turn after. You start on that note, you go up 1 note in the key signature, return to the original note, down a note in the key signature, and then back to the original note again. So in this case, we would start on D, we would go up to E, D, C, D. Now, this is where some of us might have some questions. If it has a sharp under it, we would be going to the C sharp instead of the C natural, but it doesn't. I've sort of researched this in preparing this video for you all, and I've listened to tons of recordings of this. Everybody plays a C sharp there that I've heard, and I remember studying this with my teacher when I was in school, and she also played a C sharp there and told me that that was okay. It also makes sense because there's a C sharp at the end of measure 13, right before we go into this. So we're going to make it a C sharp. This is how I would perform it if I was doing the audition. So in super slow-mo. Okay, then we get to the F sharp. This one is as written, so F sharp, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, down to E, and back up to the F sharp. So that's with your 8th note pulse. Very slow. Kind of turns into triplets like that. Okay, and measure 15 is just like measure 13 as far as counting the 30-second notes. So I hope that this helps. I wish you the very best of luck in your auditions. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can always contact me at my email. My EKU email is adria.sutherland@eku.edu. And we can do a free lesson in person or via Zoom if you're farther away, if it's a hard drive for you. But I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. And even if you just want to email with some questions, that's also okay. And keep your eyes open and your ears open, because EKU, I'm gonna host at EKU an all-state coaching session for those of you that are getting either really close to first round or you've just passed through first round. It'll be helpful either way. And we're still waiting to find out when those first round auditions are scheduled, but my event that I'm hosting at EKU is going to be on Saturday, November the 12th. So hopefully that'll be after all the All-State Marching Band things are finished and you'll have a little time in your schedule opened up. It'll be a free event. We will work on this music, obviously, and we will work on some sight reading strategies and anything else that you might have questions about. So stay in touch with me if you have any questions, and best of luck.